to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening and welcome everyone to the January 2nd meeting of the Ashland City Council. And this is our first meeting of 2024. It's also the meeting in the new year that follows a general election. So the first order of business will be to swear in our newly elected officials on council, and that would be Dr. Dan Lawson and myself. So with that, I would like to call up our honorable state representative, Mrs. Melanie Miller, to administer the oath this evening. I think I'll go first. My beautiful wife Audrey will hold the Bible. Good evening to you both.
We're very happy for you. Congratulations. All right, Councilman, if you would please put your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. There we go. Here we go. Please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Steve Workman,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the laws and ordinances
and the laws and ordinances
of the City of Ashland, Ohio,
of the City of Ashland, Ohio,
and faithfully,
and faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of City Council Representative for Ward 1
of City Council Representative for Ward 1
of the City of Ashland, Ohio.
of the City of Ashland, Ohio.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. All right, let's welcome Mr. Dr. Dan Lawson. Dr. Dan Lawson. His beautiful wife. And Lynn, let's have you in the center here. All right, and Dan, if you will place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand, and please repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Dan Lawson,
do solemnly swear
do so affirm
that I will uphold
that I will uphold
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the laws and ordinances
and the laws and ordinances
of the City of Ashland, Ohio,
of the City of Ashland, Ohio,
and faithfully,
and faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the City Council Representative at Large
of the City Council Representative at Large
for the City of Ashland, Ohio.
for the City of Ashland, Ohio.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you again, Mrs. Miller.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda will be the election of a council president. And so at this time, before we can conduct any business, I will open up the floor to the council for nomination of a president.
I nominate Steve Workman.
I second that.
Thank you. I accept the nomination. Are there any other nominations? I'll ask again, are there any other nominations? Hearing none, Terry, I'll let you take the roll.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
I thank you for that vote of confidence. And years ago, when the mayor and I took these same seats before anything was ever televised, at that time, I excuse me, I made a vow to the citizens of Ashland that this council, I'd like to just renew that vow, that this council would never shy away from any of the hard issues that our city may face. Additionally, this council will have one agenda and one only, and that is to do the right thing. And I think we've lived up to that to this point. Amen. And I think we have a group who will live up to it long into the future. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's an honor to serve with you. With that then, we'll move through the agenda. First item of business on the agenda will be the approval of the minutes from the December 19th regular session of council. And if there are no additions, deletions, or corrections to those minutes, I'll ask for a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Next will be the approval of the minutes from our special session of city council on December 28th. And again, if there are no changes to those minutes, I'll ask for a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Minutes will stand approved. First ordinance this evening will be an ordinance amending Chapter 230 municipal income tax of the codified ordinance of the city of Ashland, Ohio. This will be the third and final reading before the vote. Larry?
We need a
Move for
Oh, I'm
non-reading
sorry.
in full.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
As we've discussed previously, this is a revision and a combination of several other previous income tax ordinances, rolling it into one ordinance. It does not change anything but combine everything so that one ordinance can be updated to stay consistent with state law that we must abide with. So we've talked about that. I think I've shared with each of you some different items of that, but it does not change the way the city of Ashland operates or collects income tax or allocates it. It just updates us so that we have one ordinance rather than three ordinances or laws that we have to update.
Certainly. Council have any discussion for Mr. Paxton? All right, with that then, is there a motion to approve on the first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
If there's no reason
to
to
pass it.
suspend, we can just move right to
Pass.
passage. Is there a motion to?
Move to approve.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Ordinance 1-24.
Next, we have an emergency ordinance addressing the provisions of recently passed State Issue 2, Chapter 3780 of the Ohio Revised Code regarding the adult use of cannabis processing, dispensing, laboratories, cultivation areas, and cultivation facilities pursuant to the authority set forth in RC 3780.25, the local authority regarding adult use operators.
Move for non-reading in full.
Second.
Thank you.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Tonight, this legislation comes to us from our law director, Richard Wolf. And if you will recall, several years ago, the City Council of Ashland passed legislation that would forbid the sale of medical marijuana within the city limits of Ashland. In other words, we didn't want any dispensaries within our corporate limits. Now that issue 2 has passed, and now that the approval has been given for adults to use recreational marijuana, this legislation would once again reaffirm that we will not allow the commercial growth or dispensing, or those dispensaries within the city of Ashland. That does not mean that an individual cannot smoke marijuana in our city at their appropriate age. It also does not mean that an individual could not grow their own marijuana. I believe it's up to 6 plants per individual and maybe 12 per household of 2 or more adults. All of that is still permitted. This is simply saying that we will not allow the commercial growth, cultivation, and dispensing of recreational marijuana within the city limits of Ashland.
Very good. Comments, questions?
And we had this previously.
Yes,
In our,
yes.
anyway.
So again, to clarify for the benefit of all, this is taking it from the point of medical use to recreational use.
To include recreational use as
Right.
well. And it's not the use, it is the commercial production,
Right.
growth, and dispensing of it within the city of Ashland. So individuals can still use it. We now have that constitutional right in the state of Ohio, and they can also grow their own for their own personal use if they're an adult. But we will not permit commercial dispensaries within the city limits of Ashland.
And they cannot smoke it in public.
They cannot smoke it on city-owned property. So in other words, you couldn't smoke it at a picnic pavilion or at the playground or at the golf course or any of our publicly owned properties in the city of Ashland.
Okay. Very good. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve on the first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Kyle,
Yes.
Miller.
Aye, sorry.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye. I will move to suspend the rules for 3 separate readings, 3 separate days.
Second.
Thank you.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Motion to approve the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Ordinance 2-24.
And finally, we have a resolution. This resolution will be a resolution of the Ashland City Council supporting the Ohio Commission for the United States Semi-Quincentennial America 250-OH.
Move for non-reading in full.
Second.
Thank you.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Believe it or not, in 2 years, in 2026, America will celebrate her 250th birthday. And the state of Ohio, along with the support of our legislature, as well as our governor, are joining a national, actually all 50 states, in planning celebrations for America's birthday party in 2026. They are inviting each community and each county in particular across the state of Ohio to establish a point person, a committee, whatever size and makeup that you'd like, to plan a special celebration for each of our communities throughout Ohio. We have already been involved in a significant way here in Ashland because I was actually invited to testify before the State of Ohio Senate committee hearing on the importance of this celebration. And of course, the things that I highlighted is it's a wonderful way to celebrate all that America represents and has always represented, and the good things that have come over the last 250 years. In particular, what Ohio has contributed to the United States over the years of our existence since 1803. One of the things that we hope to do is build our celebration around the fact that US 250 goes through Ashland County and the city of Ashland. So we are going to build our celebration around all of the wonderful things that the corridor, the US 250 corridor, has contributed not just to the city, but to the state. And ideas of how we can commemorate that, everything from simple birthday parties to possible installation of a forever monument in the city celebrating our freedom. So tonight, we're asking you to support the statewide celebration, but also our local effort.
It's exciting.
It is exciting, and it'll be here before we know it,
Yes.
Is it 2026?
2026.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, then, is there a motion to approve on the first reading?
So move. Second.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
I will move to suspend the rules for 3 separate readings, 3 separate days.
Second.
Thank you.
Woodward,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Motion to approve the resolution?
So moved. Second.
Thank you.
Lawson.
Aye.
Workman.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Resolution 1-24.
All right. There are no public hearing items, no old business or new business unless council has something to bring forward.
Nope.
Hearing none, then we'll move right to Finance Director's report.
The only report I have this evening is we are in 2024 within our accounting records. That may sound like a very small task, but I assure you it was not today. So hopefully by the end of the week, we'll be back to somewhat of a normal operation. But the first day back is also the beginning of a pay period, so everything is kind of held up because of that, so.
Sure.
But we are in business.
All right. Thank you, Larry. Any comments or questions for Larry? That being the case, we'll move right to council comments. Dr. Lawson? Go first.
Oh, I would obviously like to thank the citizens of Ashland for putting their confidence in me to serve yet another, my second full term as a council person, and to this council for allowing me to be a part of such a great team. There's a lot of great synergy that happens with this city council, and I am proud to be a part of it. And so I just want to echo what Councilman Whitman said, in that we promise to do our very best and to do what is right. And we do put our hand to that task, and we pray about it and take that very, very seriously. So thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Woodward?
I'm just going to congratulate both of you.
thank you.
Congratulations, Steve, and congratulations, Dan.
Thank you.
This is a great team to work with, and I'm very honored to sit here as well.
Thank you.
Ditto. I will also add, when I'm out and about, it's rare that I don't hear compliments about the Christmas festivities and also the Candy Cane Lane, and, you know, how it's setting Ashland apart more and more from the other cities, and you know, something we should be proud of. And again, we have a lot of good citizens that just are willing to open their pocketbooks and help us adorn this city even more than it is. So thank you to everybody, and it's looking forward to another great year in 2024.
I publicly want to congratulate both Dan and Steve. You know, I'm starting my, this is the first meeting of my third year being on council, and to echo what everybody else has said, it's such a great group to be a part of, and everybody here has taught me things to get me up to speed, and I really do appreciate it, and I just look forward to what this city has on the docket for 2024. Just more good things.
Absolutely. All right, Mayor?
Well, congratulations to both of you on your reelection, and it is an honor to serve with you. And if you do pause for just a moment and you think about all of the many things that have been done in the last 5 years, let's just go back 5 years, 5 years or 7 years, it is amazing the changes that have happened here in the city of Ashland. And I think perhaps one of the best ones is we really are polishing up the city. So many of our dilapidated structures and unkept properties have been addressed. There's still many more to address, there's no doubt. But when it comes to some of the blight that people often pointed to as some of our biggest messes, those are all gone. They're gone thanks to the effort of the city, through the land bank, and just private property owners that have acquired some of these properties and cleaned them up. So that's one of the things that stands out to me so much when I do visit other cities, is how clean our city is. We may not be the fanciest always, although we have the best decorations. We may not be the most flashy, but we do tend to be a clean city. And that's a big accomplishment in and of itself. I was telling our department heads today how much we appreciate that our citizens, this sounds maybe trite, but don't litter like they seem to litter in other communities. And doesn't mean you don't see litter here and there, because you do. But we're still a clean city. So it's an honor to serve here. The items that I would simply mention to you, and especially for those that might be watching, we'll have more details here soon, but we did finish the year end with a solid balance, so that's a good thing. And in fact, for me, and I think for our finance director in particular, we were thrilled with that because we knew that we had projects that cost a lot more than what we expected. When you take into account the Claremont Avenue project, that was several million more dollars than what we had originally intended to spend. And with the help of the finance director and our city engineer, we found that money, made up that difference, and still, because the area businesses did so well this year, their tax collections were up and we were able to finish on solid ground. So that does, I think, for all of us, allow us to breathe a sigh of relief because we start 2024 on good footing. And we're not expecting to see our budget grow in any big significant way. We will certainly have to increase all of our salary, wage line items and our benefit line items because of the negotiated union contracts. But other than that, we're taking the approach that we want to hold spending on all of the various departments and other line items throughout the budget. There might be some that you do have to adjust because, let's face it, inflation has happened and some services have gone up and some equipment has gone up. Actually, probably just about everything's gone up, but we think we'll be able to handle that. So soon you should be seeing your draft of the budget coming your way. Also, I want to point out that the State of the City address is planned for the evening of January 24th. January 24th at 6:30 PM, and all are invited to attend. I do believe, once again, we will hold it at the Archer Auditorium, and we will, once again, feature a presentation on the city schools as well. So that's January 24th at 6:30 PM, and more details will follow. But other than that, the Christmas decorations are coming down starting Monday of next week. That's a very popular question these days, but they will come down beginning January 7th. Is that 7th? Yes, 8th, Monday.
All right.
Can you give a brief update on the Hessen Clark property and also the apartments and
Absolutely,
and the
absolutely.
Pump House District?
So a lot of people probably wonder why you don't see a lot of activity over there when we've talked so much about the redevelopment of the Pump House office building and the redevelopment of the surrounding area. The projects are moving forward. Right now, a lot of it is the work that happens in an engineer's office and in a utility company's office. And by that, I mean as they prepare for their final design of where the buildings will sit in the land adjacent to 4th Street and Union Street, we're figuring out what power lines can be buried and what rail spurs can be moved and so on. And so all that's underway, and we hope that the development firm for the project has their final layout here probably within a month. So we've got another meeting scheduled with them. We've been meeting just about every 2 to 3 weeks, and we have another one coming up here shortly. So that's what's happening in regard to the apartments of Vision Development. The hotel, same situation. Their architects are putting together some of the final drafts of what the building will look like. It is their intention to add on to the existing pump house building to make it a hotel. As we've said, it'll be a major chain hotel. And they are in the process of securing the financing and getting all those details taken care of. So I would suggest that in regard to that project, you will likely see within the next several months on the agenda a proposed tax incentive agreement, because it is a redevelopment project. And as you know, when we have had individuals and organizations fix up these buildings downtown, we often are willing to give a community reinvestment agreement to encourage them to do so. This would certainly be the biggest one, because they're expecting still to put probably $20 million minimum into the pump house building. So that's a wonderful deal,
It is.
and we'll see how that unfolds. But that's the update.
All right.
And the Hessen Clark, I actually just literally got a message from one of the partners that owns Hessen Clark today. So I probably can give you a better update the next meeting. But I literally just got that voicemail here as I was coming into this meeting. So it is that project, of course, originally we were talking about a apartment building on that parcel. That land, with the increased construction costs, probably about 6 to 12 months ago, the partners in that project decided to put it on hold because of the rising costs, and I think now they're exploring all their options. It has even crossed my mind to go back to them and say, do you want to give it back to the city, that land, and we'll find a new use for it, but I'm not sure we're there just yet. One of the things that's important to remember with that particular project is we still accomplished our mission. And our mission was to get the abandoned 5-story factory building down and cleaned up, and it's cleaned up. So it's easy to keep it mowed. It's not so easy to maintain one of those giant industrial complexes. So no matter what happens, we still accomplished our original mission, and that was to get it down. So, and just think, had we not done that, do you think they would be looking at putting $20 million into a hotel that overlooked a vacant industrial complex? Or would they be building 200-plus apartments, hoping to spend 40 to 45 million just next to it? No. So all the pieces do matter. So I appreciate the question.
You mentioned fixing up a lot of the situation that a lot of people have asked me about, 16 East Main.
16 East Main, the contract signed. We're waiting for Simonson to get started.
And
I
they
see
do the
that.
first floor only?
Yes, they will. I do believe they're going to do some demo work on the second and third floors, but the first floor is the floor that will be remodeled. And we do have a tenant that is eager to move in.
Fantastic.
So
Yes.
hopefully that work begins quickly. And I think that that should move fairly quickly, because that's a simple, who am I to say simple, but it is a simple remodel project. It's basically clean up the walls, redo the HVAC there, and we're done. So, yeah. Well, now I don't need to give a state of the city. So we'll cancel that. No, we won't.
All right, thank you, Mayor. At this time, then, we'll entertain comments and questions from our audience. Anyone who would like to address council is more than welcome to step up to the podium and tell us where you live, your name for the minutes, and let us know what you have on your mind. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Zachary Kassler. I live over there on Cottage Street on the 4th Ward. I've talked to a lot of the community members, a lot of the public and everything else like that. It's all been around and that's already been developed is very, very expensive. And over half of Ashland people can't even afford that. And even with city workers and everything else like that, even when you put an application in, they're not getting less than $10 an hour. We have no metropolitan or anything else like that to help with any kind of equalizing housing. And we also have senior citizens, everything else in the city. So is there any talk or anything else like that with developers on trying to make more subsidized, more equalizing housing so that way more of our actual Ashland public can still stay and enjoy the city of Ashland?
I would say right now there are no projects in the works. The latest 2 projects that have received participate in a program like you described would be Union Lofts and Montgomery Crossing. My understanding is that they are filled. Those are located out on Eagle Way, out behind Home Depot. We certainly don't discourage that type of housing, but it is, once again, in the hands of a developer. Even as we talk about the market rate housing at the Pump House District, just remember, it's not the city that is building that housing, and it's not the county that's building that housing. It is private developers, and the reality is most developers are in it to make a profit. And if they're going to spend $40 million to build a new apartment building, chances are they're going to try to recoup that expense through the highest rents they can get. And so while we are not discouraging the affordable housing that you're talking about, I can't tell you of a specific project that I know of right now in the works that would meet your criteria.
Well, one thing that's got me concerned is like if you go around in the city of Ashland, we don't have a metropolitan.
No.
We have to go completely out of sight of
Yes.
any directional county. So, I mean, if you guys are sitting there trying to build up more governmental agencies or anything else like that, why don't we try to get a metropolitan in here to actually try to help the community more? I mean, Ashland's always known as the fourth ward is more of the lower income area because a lot of it is industrial. And that's where a lot of people, we were very, we're kind of like a little community there. Like my whole block, we all know each other and everything else like that. But it's a big concern on there, and not with just me, just as well as local businesses and as well as other individuals just in that area. If the marketized housing is going to go over there, what's that going to do of that whole side of that town? I mean, it's going to skyrocket everything up. I mean, if you look on the auditor's office, it's almost 30% raise on property taxes everywhere.
Yes.
And it's getting to the point that the city of Ashland, us lower income, can't even survive here anymore. And that's a big, big concern. And where the city council could pass an ordinance or anything else like that to try to equalize it a little bit like that, or even try to talk about that with the community, that would be awesome. But that's one thing that's addressed on a lot of people's minds.
I do know that the state of Ohio just passed legislation to encourage developers to develop more affordable housing or low-income housing. And I'm not sure all the details that went along with that, but that was one of the governor's initiatives to help encourage developers to build more of that type of housing. So much of it is market-driven. And the reality is Ashland is peaceful, it's safe, and today it's affordable. And as a result, when developers are looking for the next place to build their next project, Ashland's looking very appealing because, as you mentioned, people from outside want to live here. And I think that's what you see unfolding with all these projects. Now, the hotel project, we see that, and I'll speak for myself, but I think you share it. We see that as so important because that immediately brings a crowd of customers right downtown to support the vibrant downtown that has been built up over the last several years. So now you'll have, hopefully, if it's got 90 rooms, you'll have, 200 guests a night, perhaps, that'll be going to eat, going to our bars, stopping at our gift shops downtown, and they don't even have to get in their car to do it. But I completely understand what you're saying. We have had lots of meetings with the Homeless Coalition, and I even met with one of the Common Pleas Court judges on possibly starting a housing authority to administer some of those programs. We met with folks in Wayne County where they do have one and so on. And the conclusion that most came to at those meetings were we didn't need our own because we could utilize the services of the nearby entities. But it's not an easy issue. There's no question. And it's not one that's unique to Ashland because we're still probably the more affordable community where what you're seeing is what you describe is happening to the extreme in some of these communities where the wages and the rents do not even begin to come close.
And that's actually what's starting to happen here in Ashland.
It is.
And that's
I would
got
agree.
me extremely concerned
I would-
because
it
it's
is.
also going to have a domino effect.
Yep.
See, personally, me, and I know a few other people that do agree with it, I don't agree with the hotel being over there. I don't. I said I'd rather see more of a homeless shelter or something like that being reutilized with the pump house building itself. Just for simple fact is, what's right across the street is Job and Family Services. You also have different programs and everything else like that that they can literally walk to. And that right there is just opening up a whole area right there where it would actually benefit more of the community than it would be to just basically throw them out because they can't have nowhere to go. I mean, there's some Ashland people that a lot of people of us, we get looked over. You can't drive, anything else like that. That's where that building is mostly perfect at. And that's where a lot of even the churches and everything else like that all agreed with. That would be almost perfect housing for a single mother or someone trying to get out on their own or someone that had a rough past but is trying to turn around. We should focus on all those. And that's what's really got me concerned.
No, we do.
Oh, we do?
Yep.
Okay.
You know, I know ACA and everything else like that's over there clean on across the other side of town. I would love to see ACA try to go into that building as well as the pump house, the pump house building. But, and I mean, that is one big area. Another one is, the issue that we've been having is trying to get public records requests in certain parts in the city and everything else like that. We've had a lot of issues, me and a few others, on trying to get public records. I mean, the transparency with Ashland right now just seems like it's kind of a downfall. And that's actually got me concerned as well as other people in the community as well.
And where were you requesting those records from? The police department?
Some of it was police department, some of it was actually here at Human Resources Department, right down on the lower floor. There was others with the Common Police Court. I mean, I know those ones are more of the state and county ran than the city of Ashland, but I know the Human Resources Department, that is strictly the city of Ashland.
I see.
But another one is,
And let me just make clear that anyone that does a formal public records request, we do have a procedure that we go through, and we always follow that procedure. So I would have to know your specific request or who requested it and what they requested it. But now, I don't know if it was something personal in HR that they couldn't release someone's information, but
yeah, we can discuss that at
Yes.
a later time on that one. But it's just something I did want to bring up
Yep.
on there and just bring the council being aware of it.
Yep.
Another one is I've tried to talk to a couple public members, and it took months for me to even try to get a response. I got a response faster to you than who I was reaching out, and that's got a little bit of a concerning on that
Yeah.
issue as well. And Mr. Miller, I've never actually had an issue with you.
well, thank you.
I've always, if I had an issue or anything else like that, it's just like when I had the problem there in the back of my house. You were right there at my house itself and would take care of the issue with me. You know, and I always try to stay quiet. I always try to participate with the community. But there's some things there with just the board that I would like to actually see some changes with. And one of them is actually with zoning and stuff like that, the cost of it. I mean, some of it's just astronomical.
Yep.
And it piles up just like that.
Yep, yep.
So,
And of course, you referenced it, so I'll reference it as well. We have had conversations, and I know some of those conversations have been about rezoning sections of the city to accommodate specific types of businesses. And I mean, there is a legal procedure we have to go through to do that, and that does involve the planning commission. That's
Yes.
where it starts. They make a recommendation then to the council. The council has to have a number of hearings and so on. So those are changes that might be hard to make because that kind of is a legal process that we follow. And I don't know if that's set by Ohio Revised Code or if we exclusively set those rules ourselves.
it's
But-
exclusively by the city of Ashland.
Okay.
I did look at the transcript on
Okay.
that one.
Okay,
But it was just more or less trying to step out to try to figure out the information on how to actually do the proceedings.
I see.
And I got more information from you than what I did from over half of the places that I was actually going to because it
Okay.
was felt like I was bob ahead.
Yep,
I mean, that right there was a big concern. It should be more open up.
yep. No, that's good feedback. It
So.
is.
But yeah, I mean, the Pump House District and the Fourth Ward areas, I mean, mobile homes zoning, I saw that where it's kind of exclusive there for even that kind of habitat. And it's got me more concerned, and as well as other people in the community, that it's just going to get to the point where it's pushing all of us out. And that's exactly what it's feeling like.
Yeah, I understand. There are lots of property owners that are glad to see their property values go up because they may have in mind to sell someday or so on, but I totally understand. And you are right, it is about a 37% on average increase we've all experienced with our property tax bills. So that impacted everyone across Ashland County and across the state. But I understand, you're right.
But I mean, if you're going to have property taxes and everything else like that go up as well, where's the subsidies? You know, where's the subsidize for
Yep.
the college student that's trying to get started, the single mom, the single dad, or anything else like that in the community? We don't have the help. I mean, if they want to beautify Ashland, I think it'd be awesome if you guys could make a program up with homeowners now. It's like, hey, you know, we can do this grant here. We want to see this improvement. That'd be awesome. It's just something that's actually handing out and helping the community more
Yep.
instead of kind of pushing us to the side.
That is very interesting because I actually did meet with someone that was willing to put up the initial pot of money for us to do beautification grants for individual homeowners. And their thought was if you see a house that needs painted, we could go knock on their door and say, hey, listen, if you paint your house, we'll give you $2,500. Now, chances are it costs more than $2,500 to paint your house.
Oh,
We can
yeah.
speak from experience. But I will tell you, the concept, that has definitely been discussed.
But it's like, for instance, we had one individual there that is over there on my side who wanted to start a car lot up.
Oh, yes, we know him well.
I'm sure. The only car lots that we actually have here that are any kind of actual substantiary is Bill Harris's and stuff like that. And that's people with only decent credit. If you got bad credit or anything else like that, or you're starting off, you can't do nothing. We needed the business there to actually kind of help with that area. And that's where I think the council ought to try to do a jogging effect in between those.
It's, I'll just tell you, and this is just the reality. So this particular project he's referencing came before the City Planning Commission, and this is right across from the old A&M Fire headquarters there on Cottage Street. And the gentleman wanted to put a used car dealership in there, and the Planning Commission would not support that idea. And the irony is, prior to him assuming ownership of that property, all of the adjacent homeowners were all upset that the city wasn't doing anything to clean up all the junk cars and all that were there, and all the stored boat and the dilapidated building. And that's the thing, you have to remember, that individual owner may want a car dealership there, but those very people that you referenced in your neighborhood, they weren't so eager to see that type of thing, so.
Some of them.
Maybe so, and maybe so.
Some of them has
yeah.
passed away since then and
Yep.
everything.
Okay,
And that's the thing. I'm literally 2 doors down from it.
I know, yep, I know.
And I don't have an issue with it.
Yeah.
I mean, another thing is about it, if the city owned properties, I think that they should be able to have the land bank more available for the public to actually be able to purchase properties. Because if he can't open one on that property, what if he could acquire a city by trying to get another one to do it in a different
Yeah,
area?
Yeah,
I mean, it's something that's going to help more of the community on there. And that's where I was wanting to see the city council to try to move forward more with that, to try to actually be able to help more with the public on the lower side than it is on the upper side.
I understand.
So,
I'd just like to say I've heard your concerns from a number of other people, particularly given the place where I work. There is concern about the affordable housing. However, as the mayor pointed out, it requires a developer to come along to get approval from the state to build the government-assisted projects, and a lot of the developers are not sure they want to put their money into that. But the other thing to keep in mind is there's nothing that says when they build those apartments that only the residents of Ashland can move into them. So what happens is you often have a rush of people from surrounding communities coming in to take those apartments, and then our residents of Ashland are still in the same situation.
but it's just like, what about the homeless part of Ashland?
And see, a lot of times when those homeless shelters are built, or those affordable housing units that you're looking for are built, they are built by nonprofits.
Yes.
There's some organization or individual that they feel that mission is theirs, and they go out and build them. So when you see those projects, usually it's a nonprofit that is building a homeless shelter or those types of entities.
If the city probably would be able to talk up with ACCA and as well as fellowing churches or anything else
Access,
like that,
yeah.
or even Access. The Access program more helps domestic violence victims and as well as women. It's not so much for men.
No, you're right.
And that's the problem with it is back in 2017, when I was homeless, I had to sleep in my truck and I was stuck in the city of Ashland. I had no help and everybody around was full. And it was in the middle of winter. And the only reason why it literally took a lot to try to get out of there was just the simple fact is I kept on getting fine after fine after fine, and ended up having to stay in county.
Wow.
And that's not right. Just because somebody couldn't afford something doesn't mean that they should be shot off into the gutter.
Yep.
In the city of Ashland, I absolutely love this city. I grew up a majority of my life in Ashland County. And I've seen the city go from complete trash to what it is now. And yes, it is a huge improvement. But is it getting too much of an improvement? Because now it's getting to the point where it's not affordable.
You know, personally, what I would like to see, rather than another handout, is an educational program available to all economic classes to better their household finances and their household ability to cook and clean and do the things that most domestic households do. And, you know, I'm more about teaching a man to fish than to give a man a fish.
I understand that one.
And I feel currently there are jobs available for anyone who wants to work. And there's no reason really that anyone could not improve their situation to some extent by taking some initiative. But these agencies that are out there aren't, to my knowledge, offering any educational assistance like that. And that's a minimal expense program to initiate, in my opinion. I think there are plenty of bankers in the town and financial people who would be more than happy to take part in a program like that.
And see, I have no problem with what you said. I grew up with that thing. If you teach a man how to fish, he'll never go hungry.
Right.
But what about the people that can't fish? The disabled.
I agree.
Like
Not
my
everyone
mother-
has that opportunity.
My-
I realize.
My mother, she's limited income. And literally
Yeah.
two-thirds of her entire income a month go just for her housing.
And there is real need out there.
There is,
Extremely. There's no doubt. Yeah, and I'm not speaking to those.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people who do have the ability to help themselves.
Yes.
And by choice, they do not.
Yes.
And
I agree.
that's an issue that is going unaddressed.
It is, and I will agree with that. And I will 100% back up on their teach a man to fish, how to do that whole 9 yards. But you can't also lead a horse to water or beat a dead horse. Some people, they're going to take advantage of the system. That's just a hand in, hand out. That's what's going to happen.
Right.
But you got the people that can't take abuse of that system. But because of people that abuse of that system, where does that leave them?
I understand.
I think I do want to mention, as a nonprofit director in Ashland, Ashland has so many services offered to individuals that need about any assistance. Knowing this from reaching out to other communities, neighboring communities that have very little to offer. So if you need childcare, there are places that will help. If you need food, there are some educational classes. I know the Access program, they demand that to live there, to be educated on how to run a budget and how to take care of a household and how to pay your bills. So there are programs, and I personally have a whole list at my work for anybody that you might know that may need that list. It may be organizations that you're not even aware of that we have.
The problem
So-
is the Access program has so many restrictions because I personally knew Kathy Thiemann, and she used to actually be the director on that part. And the problem is with it is it more goes for domestic violence women than it does for any type of man, and as well as anybody who is a single father. That is the biggest issue that I've ever seen in any area. But if Ashland, we don't really have any programs at all for that. Worcester, we're extremely limited. Mansfield, extremely limited. But some of the programs here, I would love to see them expand more, and I would love to see the city support for that more, and the city looking for that more. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Sir?
I don't be fast.
Good evening.
Good evening. Me and Steve Workman was talking earlier about Ashland Transit. Like every time we called them and they never gave us a time limit when they pick us up. It's mainly I think Kathy, the older lady that won Ashland Transit. She normally don't give us a time limit when the Ashland Transit supposed to pick us up and stuff.
They give times, don't they?
They schedule the rides, I believe, right?
I don't know.
Do you know, Angela Moore? I know.
Well, they give you like
A window?
a window of time. I know, we've used it with their own
Yes.
organization, and they're usually real close to that time, but there are sometimes delays. So, but it is like
Yeah.
a window sometimes.
Are they fully staffed with drivers?
I believe
think
so.
so.
I believe so
Okay.
now.
Have they given you a window of time?
Oh, I know when an older lady is working, she never give me a time limit. She said, we'll send you one right away. That could be like 30 minutes, an hour, or 2 hours.
Okay.
When a younger one works, she give me a time limit.
Okay.
And she says she don't call me when one came today, but she never called me.
Well, we can investigate it then and figure out what's happening.
Okay, I need a, what's that is here? Got it. Do you got any plans of setting up like a SSI building, like in Ashland County? Because I know I have to go to Mansfield to get a social security card. They give me like a 45-day limit in order to get there.
No, and that's a federal agency, so we don't really play a role in where they set up their offices. Our finance director just reminded me that our transit folks are still down the stairs because it's not 9 o'clock yet. So after this meeting, if you want one of us to go down with you, we can see if we can talk to someone down there about what's happening with your time frames that you're being given, if they're not being upheld.
Okay, that's all I got.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address council in any way? All right.
Those are big issues.
They are.
Everything you bring up, those are important issues, and they're big issues, though. Those are challenges we're going to be facing more and more, not only as a community, but just our state, because wages are not keeping up with the cost of the rental units. One other comment about that, what we also see is more and more individuals are buying those affordable apartments, fixing them up, and raising the rent. And so it's going to be a growing need, there's no question.
That's where I was talking about more of a land bank thing, like
Yep.
the Richland County has it set up. And Richland County is, you got it set up where if you go in there, you pay $1,000, you buy it off of the city, and then you have up to 3 years to get it all the way up to complete code. A lot of the houses that the city of Ashland tore down, yeah, some of them were absolute eyesores. They needed torn down. Other ones could have been repurposed.
Yep.
But, so seeing a program even like that would help this community a
Yep.
lot with that. I mean, if you pay $1,000 to someone who really could save that up in a month, and that's all months. Even if they're on SSI, it'd take 2 months.
Yep.
It was something they give them to be a landowner, and they wouldn't have to worry about that kind of stuff. And then if the city has a program there where it can help, but
Yep.
it's giving it back to the community.
I so appreciate your willingness to offer a solution with your problem. And it's well thought out. Thank you for that, Zach. All right, if there's no one else who would like to address council and council has no further business, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Lawson,
Aye.
Workman,
Aye.
Kyle,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Woodward.
Aye.
Thank you all for coming. We are adjourned. Our next meeting will be on the 16th of January. So thank you all.